Hello, Stitchy friends. How is everybody doing? I'm actually filming a day early. So today is actually Monday, March 3rd. Normally I film on Tuesdays, but I'm doing this in the evening on Monday to get a little bit of a head start for tomorrow. So welcome. My name is Andrew. This is my dog Winston, and this is the Runner Stitcher, a channel where I talk primarily about my cross-stitch journey and a little bit about running as well. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see, and subscribe and like, do all the YouTube things, and come back and see us again. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for stopping back in to see what I was able to get done this week. So this is Flosstube number 37. I don't know if I said that already. And yeah, I've got a lot of whips to share with you today. So this is going to be a little bit of a longer, not longer, but more whips, which are my works in progress, more things that I worked on this week. So that's always exciting. I think I mentioned last week that I had a race on Sunday. That was the New York Roadrunners Washington Heights 5K, and that took place on Sunday. Now, it was freezing cold. It was literally 22 degrees when the race started. The crazy part about that is on Saturday, the day before, yeah, it was cold, right? Saturday, the day before, Winston and I went outside for a walk, and it reached 60 degrees. It wasn't warm because it was still like cloudy and the sun wasn't out, but it reached 60 degrees. The next morning, it was 22. So it had dropped like almost 40 degrees in one night. So it was just a cold race, and it was windy on Sunday morning. So it was really tough. Yes, Winston, you weren't there, but you agree. Anyway, the race went really well. It is a fun race, and I always enjoy it. It's one that I can walk to from where I live, so that's convenient to get there and get home. And it runs up in Washington Heights in northern Manhattan and runs around the cloisters and then back. So it's just a 3-mile race, but it's really fun. I think I've got a picture of my results here, so I'll pop that in here. But I finished in 24 minutes and 52 seconds, and that was an 8-minute mile pace exactly. So I was sort of hoping it would be under 8, like maybe a 7:59 pace, but yeah, 8 on the dot. So I was happy about that. But I got, my place was 1,387 out of 4,691. So a pretty good race. I didn't hang around afterwards because I just wanted to get home and take a warm shower. And there was no medal this time, so it was more just kind of a fun race to do in my neighborhood. But that was really fun. And now I am back on track for training for my next half marathon, which will be in May. And that is the Brooklyn Half Marathon here in New York. So that will be a fun one. So I will be back on a training program and hopefully be a little bit more regular with my runs. So that'll be nice to kind of get that going. And I think that's all I've got to share with running. I'm definitely excited for some warmer temperatures and spring weather and excited to be running in Florida, which will be probably a little bit warmer than here. But I think that's all I've got for running. So let's jump into the stitching this week. As I said, I've got 7 whips, works in progress to share with you. So buckle in. Since I last saw you, which was a week ago, I was able to add in 5,014 stitches. 5,000 stitches in a week. For me, that is really big. So I was really, really happy with everything I got accomplished. I've got no new starts. I've got no finishes, no fully finishes either. So let's just jump into the whips. I'm going to go ahead and start with temperature stitching. So these are pieces that I've assigned to digits from 0 to 9, which culminate in the second digit of the temperature for that day. I look at the temperature forecasted for the next week, and that's how I choose what whips to put on. And if the number is called, it gets 100 stitches. So I've got 3 projects involved in temperature stitching. The first was Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage, which I'll put a picture up here. And I'll also share a little video of where I was when I started. This is my starting point this week for Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage. And let's see how far we can get. I think I'll probably just continue working down the house here, although there is another part of the house that kind of comes off the moon, so I might work on that section too. Or no, maybe that's the tree. Either way, I'll either work on the tree here to get some more black in, or I'll continue down on the house, but see where I ended up. This is a piece by the Witchy Stitcher, and you saw where it was. Here is where I got to. So I got a lot done this week. I ended up adding in 704 stitches, which puts me at 35.64% of this project. And the reason I got so many stitches in, I think it was only called for maybe 400 for the temperature stitching, which I completed, but it was also my WIPGO call for the month to, I think I needed 2,000 stitches. So to get to that 2,000, I ended up having to do 704 stitches. So that's why it got a little bit more love this week. It was also a WIPGO call. But I worked down this side of the house, I think, a little bit, or no, at the bottom of the house here a little bit. And then the main thing I did was this tree here. I knew, so there's a tree on this side and another tree on this side. And I knew I did not want to leave both of those trees until the end because that would be a lot of black stitching. So I worked on this tree and added a little bit of snow that's kind of sitting on the tree limbs. There's also a little bit of orange sprinkled throughout here. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but little orange lights, which are super cute in person. But yeah, this piece was really fun. Really loving it. I'm really enjoying the fabric. This is an 18 count Witch's Brew by Oblong Meow. And I think I got it on Etsy, was their shop. But I think it's really working for this piece. I'm excited to keep going further on the house. There's a lot of fun things at the bottom of the house here, which I'm really excited to get to. But for now, yeah, this has got a good start on it. So that is Festive Frosted Pumpkin Cottage. Okay, so next up we have Put a Bird on It. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and I think I've got a picture here of what it will look like. In the meantime, I will put in a video here of where I was when I started. And here is what it's going to look like in the end. It's this beautiful Quaker with some birds mixed throughout and the letters of the alphabet as well. I really love it. So I started in the center, which is this big blue motif in the center. I'm doing it monochromatically, so it's not blue for me, but that's where I'm starting. And the call this time was to add 100 stitches, so it only got called one day. And I did add in those 100 stitches. So this is stitched on a 32 count tartan green. And here is where I'm at. So I think since the last time you saw it, I worked on this section up here. So I got these beautiful sort of top of the flower. That pattern is really cool. And also built down this side of the flower here. I still have the center section to do in there. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, except, and I'm going to show you here. I don't know how well you can see this, but right here is this like white line that you can see here. Now, what happened is on this section over here, I made a mistake, and so I had to frog it out. Somehow my thread got caught under one small strand of the linen, and when I went to frog it out, it literally like stripped this one piece here. I don't know how you can see it. This one piece where it's white there, it literally stripped that of the green. So I think at the end it will be covered mostly, but it was such a shock to me that I actually like ripped through the linen. So I was glad this was only had 100 stitches because I was really ready to put it down. I was like pretty, yeah, I just was annoyed with it and wasn't sure like what actually I did to make that happen. But yeah, I'm hoping it will be covered enough. And when I first did this to restitch this side here, you really could tell there was a huge hole right there. I was able to kind of rework the linen a little bit, so I think it's kind of a little bit more covered up. Hopefully with time that will continue to just cover up more. But yeah, really, really pretty. I love the variegation in this floss. This is Dandelion Silk by Be Stitch Me, and it's really beautiful. It's really coming across well in the camera, how it shifts from bright yellow to sort of pale yellow. There's a little bit of white in there, but I really like it. I think it's looking good on this green fabric. So that was the piece for my new start for temperature stitching. This wasn't a new start, but this will be my new start until it reaches 2,000 stitches. And my final temperature stitching piece is the piece that you all picked for Witch Whip, and that is Autumn is as Joyful. It's a Quaker by Lila Studio. Here is what this is going to look like in the end. And I started this back in the fall for the stitch along that Samantha the Higa Stitcher was hosting. And it didn't get very far, but started in this upper corner here with the leaves right there. So this was fun to pull out again. I was able to add in 203 stitches. That puts me at 8.46% on the piece. And I'm going to put a video in here of where I was when I started. Here is my starting point for Autumn is as Joyful by Lila Studio. And as you can see, I actually already started the next Quaker motif here before I started filming. So you get to see where I'm going to be working. But hopefully I'll get a big chunk of this Quaker done. This is called for a couple hundred stitches in temperature stitching, but we'll see how far I go. I might not want to put it down. We'll see. And there's Winston in the background. And here is where I got to now. So as you can see, 203 stitches got me just kind of the outline of this big green Quaker here. So I'm about halfway around the Quaker. I just need to bring it up the sides to connect it. And then there's a big sort of center motif in there that will be really fun to stitch. This is stitched on a 40 count Winter's Brew by R&R Reproductions. I'm stitching this with the Vicki Clayton silks, 1/2, one strand of silk over 2 linen threads. And yeah, I was kind of debating where I went next with this one. There's a couple fun motifs right here that I thought about doing next, but I was like, no, I probably shouldn't leave these Quakers till the very end because they're so big. And I want to save some of the fun stuff for later. So I started working on this green one, which is sort of a medium-sized Quaker. There's another large one that goes right down here, I think. So that's probably where I'll go to next, try to get that out of the way. I think that's the biggest Quaker motif on the piece. This is just so much fun. I really enjoy stitching this, and yeah, I'm so glad it was called. I definitely want to keep working on this and get more progress, but really fun. I love the Vicki Clayton silks. I cannot speak highly enough about them. I think they look great on this fabric and they're really easy to use. I've put them on floss drops just to make it easier instead of using the rings or the spools that they come in, but yeah, really love it. And this is my cute little bear needle minder that I bought when we were in California, I think at Lake Tahoe, and I think it was a pin maybe, and I just turned it into a needle minder, which was really fun. But yeah, this is Autumn is as Joyful. And if you haven't seen, I'm sure you have though, but if you haven't seen Lila Studio, they did come out with the Winter Quaker, which was the last one that we were waiting on, and she did not disappoint. It's very cute. It's got polar bears in it, and definitely will be adding that to my list to stitch. I'd like to do all of them. Hopefully Vicki Clayton will do a conversion of that one as well, because I would like to use her silks for that as well. Okay, so those were the pieces for temperature stitching. While we're talking about temperature stitching, while we are talking about temperature stitching, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of share my plans with temperature stitching. So for the following week, I looked at the upcoming temperatures, and I actually was able to use the town in Florida where my parents live because I will be there for most of the week. So that was kind of fun to switch it from New York temperatures to Florida temperatures. Not that it really matters because it's the second digit anyway, but it did kind of switch things up a little bit with what's getting stitched on for the whips. So for Autumn is as Joyful, it only got called for one day, so that will get 100 stitches more. And then for Put a Bird on It, that actually got called 4 times. So that will get 400 stitches, which is more than what is currently in that piece. Currently we've got like 300 stitches in, so that will literally double what is in Put a Bird on It. So I'm excited to see some progress on that and get further on that giant big motif in the center. And then Festive Frosted Pumpkin, that got 2 additional days, and so that will get 200 stitches. I'll put a picture up here of sort of my chart that I use. What's in orange is what I'll have to stitch for the upcoming week. So you'll see we are sort of getting close to drawing a new witch whip. Probably in a week or 2 we'll have that, and yeah, making progress on the other 2 as well to switch them out for other whips, so that's exciting. Okay, next up, we've got the tried and true Saga. Every week you see this, and I hope you're not sick of it yet. I know I'm not, but I realize I show it every single week. And this week, I'm kind of excited because I do have a Saga story to share with you. So this one is called The Owl Twins, and it's kind of like a little bit of a poem, a little bit of a story, but I'll read it the best I can. Big Owl and twin brother Owl went to sea in a second-hand fishing boat. They played gin rummy with their pocket full of money, which they stashed in their granny's old coat. Big Owl looked up at the sails above as he smoked his large cigar. I hope some bugger will give us a shove. What rotten owl sailors we are, what rotten owl sailors we are. Twin Owl said to Big Owl, "You silly old fool, we should never have sailed out to sea. The wind's all a flurry, and Ma she will worry, but how do we steer this damn thing?" They sailed all day and got quite far away, till some land at last they did see. And there, made of wood, a huge statue stood, of a man with a thing on his nose, of a man with a thing on his nose. "Wooden man, are you willing for removal by drilling that thing?" Said the statue, "I am." So they told him to wait while they summoned their mate, the turkey who wed bat and bird. He arrived with his drill, and for good or for ill, Turkey took off that thing on his nose. And hand in hand they all pranced on the sand, lit up by the light of the moon, all lit up by the light of the moon. What a funny little story. So the gist of that story is we've got owls who are trying to be sailors on the sea. So that gives you a little bit of a context for what you're about to see. I will put in a video here of where I was last time. Here is my starting point for Saga this week. I'm going to start by finishing off this little tower here and get into the bottom of this part here, and then I'll work into this arch. So I'll probably get this top section done, and we'll see if I get any of the middle section in or not. And since you saw it, I was able to add 560 stitches, which puts me at 29.78%. I think I mentioned last time that I thought I'd be at 30% maybe, so I didn't quite make it to 30, but 29.78% in the first year. This is my Leap Day piece, so I started it on Leap Day of 2024, hope to finish it by Leap Day of 2028, which gives me 4 years, and I'm on track. So let's take a look at this now. So what I worked on was this section here, and I was able to complete, I think I still had the bottom of this kind of tower here to connect here at the bottom, so I completed all of that. Then I was able to sort of work a little bit down here, the sides, and you'll see the first owl is in. Sorry, I'm not showing this very well. There's the first owl. And it doesn't really look like it, but he's actually standing on the boat. So this section right here are the sails from the boat. And that will come in clearer as I fill the rest of this half arch in. So the other owl is about here, and he's standing on a lower sail, and then we've got the boat here at the bottom. But isn't he just so cute, that little owl? I really, really, really like him. So I think next time you see this, I think next week, that will be a finish on that little half arch. So then I need to decide, do I want to continue down on this side over here and work my way back over, sort of like I did the top row, or do I want to come back over to this side here and start underneath that big house and start row 3 from there? So I'll have to decide once I get going. But yeah, this is Saga by Long Dog Samplers. Forget if I said that. And I'm stitching this on a 36 count vintage country mocha with Silks for You PR 207 silks, and I'm stitching it 1/2. Just a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed the story and the progress. Now, I shared with you last time that normally I pick a focus piece for the week. I shared with you last time that because WIPGO had been called for March, and the 2 pieces that were called for WIPGO, they are not pieces that I'm able to take to Florida because I would need a floor stand, and I don't have that at my parents' house. So my goal for the week was to work on those 2 pieces. Now, because March didn't actually start until Saturday, and I finished all my temperature stitching and Saga by, I think, Wednesday evening, maybe. So I had Thursday all day and Friday all day to sort of work on something, whatever I wanted. And what did I choose? Lakapati. I just cannot get enough of her. So here is what Lakapati from Bella Filipina is going to look like. She's so pretty, and you saw her because I worked on her the week before for the end of Fancy Lady February, which really carried on an extra week because I've got 3 fancy ladies now to share with you. But I did want to read just this little, so I was watching, I forget who it was, someone's channel, and they were reading this at the bottom, and I didn't realize that there was a little like quote about Lakapati at the bottom. So it says, "Golden rice grains dance in abundance in the vast fields of the valley. Her hands caress trees bearing beautiful, bountiful fruits, both tart and sweet. She is a protector of crops and farm animals. She is Lakapati, deity of fertility, and she gave agriculture to mankind." So that's sort of a background of Lakapati, which I thought was cool, and I thought I'd read that, share that today. I will pop in a video here of where I was. Here is where I'm starting for Lakapati. I'm going to try working in this section right here to see if I can get a little bit more of her sash done. And yeah, we'll see. And in those 2 days, I was able to add 965 stitches. This is a paper pattern, so I don't have the percentage of where I am fully completed, but I got a lot of her dress done. Now, the reason I kind of pulled this back out, as I told you last week, I was just really enjoying her. Every stitch was fun. I loved the colors, loved the pattern, loved the detail in the stitch. And it kind of bummed me out a little bit that I didn't get to work on the sash in the center of her dress. Well, now I worked on the sash. So you can see these 2 strands right here. That is her sort of sash coming down from here. So there will be beads and bugle beads right up here along her dress. And then there's also some beads at the end of these tassels kind of coming down. So I filled in this whole section here. And then I also brought down this sort of yellow orange section a little bit and worked on those colors as well. So that is, 965 stitches. I am so happy with her. I think she's looking really good, and she's just so much fun. I will say this section right in here from her belt and the sashes that are kind of hanging down, so many color changes. I mean, you can kind of see it in the gradient from like dark red to those lighter colors, but the color changing was no joke. Every stitch was kind of like 2 or 3 stitches, and then you change a color. So it really took a while. But now that that is completed, the rest of this dress here in this section is a lot of block stitching. So that will be really comfortable to work on when I get to pull it back out. This is stitched on a 32 count haystack Lugana by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. And I'm stitching it with all the called for DMC. And yeah, just loving every single minute of it. So really glad I got her back out and was able to finish this. I feel like I'm at a better stopping point to put her down now, and excited for the next time I'll pick her up. I've also got my other little Lake Tahoe pin here. I think this was actually a magnet that I turned into a needle minder, but it's Sand Harbor, one of my favorite beaches in Lake Tahoe. So yeah, Lakapati, more work on her. All right, so then I got into my WIPGO goals. Now, I could have cheated a little bit. I could have started them early just to make sure I had time to get them in, because it was kind of a big ask. But I thought, no, I'm going to wait until March 1st, and then I'll just hit the ground running. So my 2 WIPGO goals for March were Celtic Autumn by Lavender and Lace. That was to get 800 stitches. And The Kiss by Mirabilia, which you've seen recently, that was to get 1,500 stitches. Now, today's only March 3rd. So you know I had to do that in 3 days. So let's just see where I got to. I started with Celtic Autumn, and I'm going to put a picture in. Well, let me find the actual piece for you. So I started with Celtic Autumn. Here is what the cover photo looks like, what she's going to look like. Now, I am doing a color conversion of this, so there's no purples. I'm switching it all to sort of fall oranges and greens, grays, color to make her a little bit more autumny. I didn't think this really screamed autumn to me. So I'm using a conversion that was on Janet Granger's blog, I think it was. It's online if you want to look that up. Anyway, I'll put a video in here of where I was. All right, this is my starting point for Celtic Autumn.
and the WIPGO goal is to put in 800 stitches, so we'll see where I get to today.
And I'm happy to share that I was able to get 800 stitches in. So I did 804 stitches. That puts me at 19.95% of this piece, so almost 20%, that's good. And what I worked on was her hair. So 804 stitches went into her hair and the greens in her headpiece there. There is a lot of beads in the headpiece as well, so that is not fully done yet, but a really good start. And her hair is so beautiful. Look at the way that's like flowing, and it's such a beautiful sort of reddish brown hair. I absolutely love it. And I really enjoyed stitching it. The pattern was really lovely to sort of follow. I got a little bit into her dress right here. So this section right here is actually the bottom of her dress, not her hair. Not the bottom of her dress, the top of her dress, not her hair. But I really just think this is so beautiful. Now, I was really happy that I had all of this completed ahead of time because it was much easier to go through 800 stitches of her hair than it would have been to do 800 of these stitches, because this, especially these top bands here and these side motifs here, were so many color changes. So I was happy I didn't have to work on that for this WIPGO call. But yeah, so she's coming along, and that makes me even more excited to pull her back out. I feel like she's got a really good start now that I can build off of as I go. There is some more of these medallions that go further down. So once I move the scroll frame, then I'll keep working on those. And there's also smaller ones that go on this side here. So the next time I pull this out, I'll probably work on those to kind of add a little bit of that. But then I'll be ready for her skin. So that's cool. But this is Celtic Autumn by Lavender and Lace, as I said. And I'm stitching this on... What am I stitching this on? Let me look it up real quick. This is a 28 count light hazelnut linen by XJU Designs. I think I got this on Etsy. And I think the light hazelnut is pretty true what you're seeing back here. It's like a very kind of a brownish color. That's pretty good. And I think those oranges are just really coming through. Even the greens are looking really good on it. So I'm very excited to see this conversion on this fabric. I went with a 28 count. So this is going to be bigger than most of my fancy ladies I do on a 32 count. So this one will be bigger in size and stitches, but I am really enjoying the coverage on this, and yeah, I'm liking how it looks. So if I do the other seasons as well, then I'll probably stitch them on 28 count as well. But okay, so that was one WIPGO goal complete. Now I actually finished that on Saturday. So Saturday was March 1st. I started in the morning. I basically just stitched all day. I was like, I've got to get these 800 stitches in today. And I did. So I was very happy about that. So then I moved on to my second WIPGO goal, which is the Kiss. And this is by Mirabilia. I'll show you what it's going to look like here. And I will pop in a video here of where I was the last time. All right, so here's my starting point for the Kiss. This is my WIPGO call, one of them, for the month. So we'll see how far I can get on this. I think to get some easy stitching in, I'm not going to work on her face or skin at all, because I think that will take too long and I don't have that time. So I think I'll be working over here in the sky, filling in some of these blues again. Maybe I'll get down into some of the purple or the pinks over here. I'm not sure, but I'm going to start with the blue and see where that takes me. But I was able to add in 1,675 stitches, and this puts me at 36.02%. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. So what did I work on? I finished all of the sky now. So there was a lot of this blue sort of lingering here in the background. So I finished all of the blue. The blue sky is done. I finished most of her hair. I think there's a few wisps of hair down here that I haven't got to yet, but for the most part, her hair is done, and these clouds as well. So then I got to get into these beautiful pinks and greens of the flowers and on the sides. That was just really fun because as you're stitching it, it doesn't really look like flowers or like rose bushes or anything. But when you pull this back, like up close, it doesn't really look like that. But when you pull it back and look at the whole piece, I think the idea of flowers on either side is really going to come through, and it's going to be so beautiful. We've got other shades of pinks coming in down here, and the same on this side as well. So I really, really enjoyed that, to be honest. And the other really exciting thing is, which I know I told you last time that I had counted from the bottom of the skin here to this little section of where I had come up to previously. Well, now over here, you can see it has fully connected. So I now have the two sections completely connected, and everything lined up. So even these sort of side stitches over here lined up exactly where they needed to be. So that is just like a huge relief for me, just to know that all matched, because I don't know what I would have done otherwise, but that was definitely a risk. If I had to do that over again, I'm not sure I would would risk that all, but it paid off. So yeah, so that was fun. Really, really great to get out of the sky. And I think the sky, when you pull that back, you can really see the shapes of the clouds, the different colors of the blues in the sky. And I think that same sort of idea will come through with these flowers and roses on the side, that when you pull it back and look at the whole piece, it's just going to be really beautiful. And when you pull it up closer, it's not like you're going to see details of flowers, but still just really, really pretty colors. And the way she's sort of designing them in almost an abstract way is really, really cool with this piece. So next time I pull this out, I definitely will work on her skin. So that is like the next big goal for this piece whenever it gets more love to come out the next time. I'd like to finish her skin here, because then I'm getting close to where her arm is here, which will be more skin. And then also on this side, there's a little bit of her arm, so that will have more skin as well. So if I can get her face done, that will be a huge accomplishment for the next time around. And then honestly, I'll work on his jacket a little bit, and then it will be time to scroll this up, because even down here, I was getting pretty close to the edge, and it's not as convenient to stitch there. So I'll probably be time to scroll this up a little bit. But yeah, that is The Kiss by Mirabilia. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Apple Blossom by Witchy. That is the called for fabric that I was really graciously given by a viewer who had it and said she had stitched The Kiss years ago when it came out near the beginning, and she had the other half of her fabric and she wanted to share it with me. So I'm really grateful to be stitching this on the called for fabric as well. This is an out of print chart from Mirabilia, but you can still find this on the secondary market occasionally, and I was just really lucky to have found it when I first started stitching on eBay for very cheap. I can't even believe how much I got it for. It was so cheap, but I'm really grateful. So that is The Kiss, and that means I completed my March WIPGO goals. So here is a look at my WIPGO board, which means we're 3 for 3 with these months so far. I've got 6 green squares, which is super exciting. And we'll just keep trying. We'll keep seeing how it goes, and what gets called and what numbers get called. So that'll be exciting. But I was really happy to get these completed, and especially because it's only March 3rd. So what's nice about this year is my WIPGO goals are not as huge as they were last year. So in an instance like this, I have the rest of the month of March to stitch whatever I want. And that's just exciting to me, that I don't have any sort of hard deadlines or hard goals. I got that accomplished for the month, and now I just get to have fun and pick what I want. Ironically, since I'll be in Florida, I have to choose what projects I take there. So I can't just pick anything. I'll be limited to the WIPs that I bring to Florida, but I'll still have a good variety, and I picked some good ones. So yeah, as far as plans go, I don't really have anything to share. I went over my temperature stitching goals. Obviously, WIPGO is already done, and I don't know what is going to be my focus piece for next week. So you'll have to tune back in next week and see what that is. I will share next week which WIPs I brought to Florida, because I haven't fine-tuned that list yet either. So come back next week for sure to see what the options are for the next little while. And yeah, I'm excited to just kind of relax and stitch what I want and enjoy time with my family, and it'll be good. I know it's also almost Nashville time. So I know a lot of people are preparing to go to Nashville Needlework Market. That always takes place in March, and it's a big sort of convention for store owners and designers to meet in one place and kind of share their new designs for store owners to get the copies to sell in their store. And there's just a lot of people going. So there's going to be extra videos coming out of people sharing their times from Nashville Needlework Market, and that's always a super exciting time. So I'm curious if you guys have purchased any pre-orders or bought any patterns that you're interested in or seen anything that you really like. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. I'm trying my best not to jump on anything unless it really, really spoke to me. And there's a couple of great patterns that I have my eye on, but I think I can wait. So I've actually been really good, and I haven't placed any pre-orders for that. But let me know if you did, because I'd love to live vicariously through what you chose or what patterns you're sort of interested in stitching. That's always exciting for me to hear. I'm looking forward to Stephanie from Lindy Stitches. She usually does a wrap-up of her top sellers, and that's always fun to me to know what people were gravitating towards. And yeah, so anyway, if you're going to Nashville, I hope you have a really great time, and the rest of us will be watching and very jealous of all of your experiences there. But I think that's all I've got for you today. I didn't have time to do any knitting. I'm not sure if I'm going to take that to Florida or not. I'd like to, because I want to keep up the muscle memory. I don't want to have to wait a little while to pick it back up, but we'll see what all I can fit in my suitcase. And I didn't do any work on the needlepoint this week. And that is too big to take to Florida, so that will be staying too. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I really try to make these videos sort of just an enjoyable time for you. I know there's a lot going on in the world, and I know we all have a lot on our minds right now. And for me, stitching has been such a comfort and a calming thing for me that I can just sort of channel my energy and my therapy into that. And that's been really helpful for me. And I hope that me sharing my love of this hobby and what I've been working on is inspirational to you, or that you're able to just kind of take some time out of your day and just have a little bit of happiness. We all need more of that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'll stick around and subscribe for more down the road. So that's all. Keep running if you're a runner. Always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet on your journey. Bye for now. Until the next stitch.